We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. We're 2 days to the basketball trade deadline. We're 5 days to the Super Bowl. We got James Harden news. We got Giannis news. We got all the Super Bowl stuff. And we have brand new news this morning. Adam Schefter, bright and early in San Francisco, joins us on the phone with the very latest from the Hall of Fame. Schefty, the floor is yours. What's the news this early morning?
Good morning, Greeny. Robert Kraft, like Bill Belichick, did not receive enough votes to be elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026. So like Belichick, he will be forced to wait another year. And interestingly enough, this was a case where the voting was in a senior category, a coach category, a player category, and in an inadvertent way, it almost was as if Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft were pitted against each other, and they wound up canceling each other out, and neither one gets in. And in a year where the New England Patriots go from last to first, where they arrive at the Super Bowl, many would have thought that Bill Belichick certainly would have gotten into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. He did not. Many thought that Robert Kraft tried to keep him out. Obviously, that had nothing to do with it. So Robert Kraft does not get in. Bill Belichick does not get in. And the New England Patriots have a game on Sunday that they are now preparing for.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning in San Francisco, and Adam Schefter is already hard at work. Well done, Schefty. Thank you. The breaking news this morning, Bob Kraft not into the Hall of Fame. Jeff, I told you, he tweeted this about 6 minutes ago, and I mentioned it to you, and you seemed immediately shocked. Why? What's your reaction?
Because I thought that was the choice, right? It was going to be between Bill and Kraft, and I thought maybe the voters had went with Robert Kraft. I'm surprised that he didn't get in. Obviously, I was super surprised that Belichick didn't get in, winning as many Super Bowls as he's won as a head coach and assistant coach, but it's just surprising. I mean, it sounds the way that everybody keeps talking about the voting process, and I don't know exactly all the rules. It sounds like guys just navigated towards the players because it sounds like you're voting for 3 of the 5. So maybe they moved off the 2, or to Shefty's point, maybe they canceled each other out. But just an odd happening.
It's the first year of a new voting process in which the coaches were placed into the same pool as senior players and other contributors or whatever Kraft would be in. And so the 5 names are Roger Craig, L.C. Greenwood, Ken Anderson, Robert Kraft, and Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
The voters were asked to vote for as many as 3 of them, is our understanding. And from what we are now told, Bill Belichick did not receive the necessary number of votes, and now neither did Bob Kraft.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't get exercised about, like, an owner. I don't know how you decide whether an owner's a Hall of Famer or not. Kraft surely will get in at some point. But, I mean, the fact that Belichick didn't get enough votes to get in on the first ballot makes the entire process a joke.
Yeah.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame voting process is insanely stupid and should be overhauled completely, and this has been true for a very long time. The fact that only 50 people vote, the fact that they do so in a secret meeting where they're penalized if it gets out, like enough already. I voted for the Baseball Hall of Fame for years. Yeah. That process took all kinds of abuse. It is insanely more democratic and fair than what goes on in the pro football. So look, I'm going to sit here and say, oh, it's an injustice, Kraft, right? But everyone now knows what a joke this is because they didn't put Belichick in, and that's got to be one of the most open and shut cases of all time. So I don't care about their rules and regulation, who can change it.
Yeah.
And what's interesting now is seeing what's transpired over the last 2 weeks now with the Belichick and now Kraft, and I'm not going to put it at the same level, but now it almost, to your point, Gross, feels like a joke. But you fast forward to this summer when the Pro Football Hall of Fame is taking place, we're still going to be talking about the
100%.
fact that Bill Belichick isn't there, which takes away from what that class is going to be going in. So I think that's a disservice to the players going in. The 3 names you just listed, those are the 3 guys that are going in to the Hall of Fame. All we're going to be talking about is the fact that these guys have won all these Super Bowls on their opportunity to get in that they didn't. And I think that's the travesty of this all.
With the Patriots in the game, which only just sort of adds to the spotlight that's on it. Not that, to your point, the Belichick thing was all that was necessary in order to make it ridiculous. Yeah. And certainly, if you're going to put any owners into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Bob Kraft should be one of them. You worked alongside him, with him, against him, whatever words you want to use, in negotiation as closely as anybody.
Yeah, I mean, what he's done for the game, what he's done for, obviously, the Patriots as an organization, he's been incredibly successful as this thing went on. You know, like you said, if 50 people can't vote that Bill Belichick should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, the whole process is insanely jacked up.
And to your point with Kraft, like I was in the building with him there in New England for 3 seasons, and you talk about ownership. This man would be in the team meetings listening to Bill Belichick, out there at practice, in the locker room, going up to guys, having those conversations. We talked about the Super Bowls he won there with Belichick. Now he made the move to get Vrabel there, and they're back playing in the Super Bowl.
So let's have a real conversation about this quickly here, because you just brought up the Baseball Hall of Fame. And the Baseball Hall of Fame voting has long been under enormous amounts of scrutiny because of the steroid stuff. Because they became the gatekeepers. The Baseball Writers Association of America essentially became the judge and the jury on whether or not the steroid guys would get into the Hall of Fame. And that caused an enormous amount of controversy because people have passionate views on both sides. And so Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens are not in. And some people think that makes it farcical, and some people agree with that. That said, to your point, I have made one point and only one over the now 30 years I've been doing these talk shows. And the idea that you're pitting people against each other is my problem. A person is either a Hall of Famer or not.
Right.
You are either worthy of inclusion into the Hall of Fame or you are not. You should not in any given year be saying, okay, well, I have to choose between L.C. Greenwood and Robert Kraft, who have nothing whatsoever to do with each other. L.C. Greenwood was an all-time great defensive lineman on the Steel Curtain Pittsburgh Steelers in the 70s, and Robert Kraft is an owner who bought his team 20 years later. The point is, either L.C. Greenwood belongs in the Hall of Fame or he doesn't. Either Bob Kraft belongs in the Hall of Fame or he doesn't. Bill Belichick, who obviously does, either does or doesn't. The idea that we have a minimum and a maximum number on any given year is the beginning of the problem. To your point, it may not be the only problem with this system, but that's where the problem begins.
I don't mind the concept of a maximum per year because I think it should be hard to get in the Hall of Fame. And I think but like in baseball, we got a ballot in the mail. You could vote for up to 10 people per year, which is a pretty good number. And, you send in your ballot. This pro football process, they get together for a meeting. They talk about it amongst themselves. There's arm twisting. There's exchanges of favors. Yeah, vote for my guy, I'll vote for your guy. Like it's ridiculous. And I think I don't know. I just think it's good that this has happened to shine a light on it because I think it's a stupid and incredibly outdated process that needs to be overhauled for the sake of the legitimacy of the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so I think it may already, unfortunately, be a little too late for that. Yeah. When they have the ceremony this summer and Bill Belichick is not there, the whole thing is going to look ridiculous. That said, Belichick's former team, Kraft's current team, is in the Super Bowl. And they are there with the
co-owner Steve Tisch's name appearing in the latest batch of emails in the Jeffrey Epstein case. Tisch's name appears at least 440 times in the more than 3 million documents released by the Justice Department. But Goodell stopped short of saying that Tisch would be disciplined.
Well, you may be getting ahead of yourself on the second part, but I would say that absolutely, we are going to look at all the facts. We're going to look at the context of those. We're going to try to understand that, and we'll look at how that falls under the policy. But I think we take one step at a time. Let's get the facts first. I don't even know the status of all the release. I know that 3 million documents came out last week. Listen, we'll continue to follow any of the facts that come up, and we'll determine whether we open an investigation or not based on those facts.
For his part, Tisch saying Friday that he and Epstein had a quote-unquote brief association that included discussing, in his words, quote-unquote adult women, as well as movies, philanthropy, and investments, and that he deeply regrets the association.